All right. I'm sure Tone's like, Sills, Cowboys, really? I think I've laid my argument out. Your Honor, I think I've laid it out. Does the prosecutor have any more questions? No. Okay. Going to the defense attorney.
It's so funny. You brought up a good point with the Larry Brown, Allen Iverson thing. The fact of the matter is, Allen and Larry hated each other at first. Hated each other, but Larry comes, and you know what happens? AI wins the MVP. And they make it to the finals, all that kind of stuff. And the fact of the matter is, you need that yin to your game. You don't need people around you all the time that's going to agree with you, that's going to always embolden you. You always need people around you that's going to challenge you. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I had to say about that. Larry Brown, it's so funny. As soon as he left Philly, he goes to Detroit, wins the championship. So it's just, listen, Larry Brown knew what he was talking about.
Think about it. He wanted his way with all those guys up there, like Ray Allen and them guys, and they won it with deep. You know what's crazy?
You mean Chauncey Billups and
Billups? I'm sorry,
Richard Hamilton and Ben Wallace.
Was Billups the MVP?
Oh, I can't remember. I can't
thought
remember.
Billups was the MVP of that. Didn't they sweep the Lakers?
I think so. It was the most.
That was the Kobe Shaq Lakers too, right?
Yeah. It was the weirdest championship because everybody had the Lakers winning that series.
Yeah,
and the Pistons just came in and just outplayed them.
Yep, he was the Finals MVP, man.
Yeah, but anyway,
insane. Okay, Tone, I made my case. Why?
Right.
I got Dallas winning this game 26-24. Why do you believe the Eagles win? And by the way, Tone,
I understand it.
I heard all you guys, all week long, you guys, how will they respond? Come on, man. You know better than that.
So I look at it like this, and to your point about, why you think Cowboys win, Eagles lose. I understand how you got to your premise. So I'm not gonna rip how you got there. I'm looking at it like this. This team is coming off of a pretty bad ass whooping. And they're the kind of team that they respond to things like that. And also, when's the last time they lost back-to-back games, right? They lost back-to-back games last year against the Saints and the Cowboys, but they didn't have Jalen Hurts playing quarterback, so it's kind of hard for me to judge them fairly then. But when Jalen Hurts is on the field, I can't think of the last time they lost back-to-back games except for maybe 2021. So I just have maybe my expectations are a bit too high. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I don't think the defense is going to be able to do enough in the grand scheme of things to try to limit Dallas to under 30 points. My score prediction for this game is actually 34-30 Eagles. So I think this is going to be a pretty high-scoring game.
So over the number 51.5.
Yes. I think this is actually going to be a high-scoring game. I think the offense is going to have to put up points, and that's why the scorecard is going to be what it's going to be. Everything you said about this game when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles' health, the Cowboys being more rested, all those things are facts and they can't be disputed. And I'm not mad at somebody picking the Cowboys. It's just I have a hard time picking against Jalen Hurts, knowing the kind of game they came off of.
I'm not picking against Hurts. I'm picking against.
I'm sorry. Well, I'm sorry. You're not. I know you're not picking against Hurts. You're doing Eagles Cowboys. I get that. I'm talking about what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I personally have a hard time picking against Jalen Hurts in this situation. But you also brought up a good point too, the fact that when's the last time you swept the Cowboys? So you're going off of history, you're going off of trends, you're going off of facts. I'm not arguing that at all. I just think the Philadelphia Eagles have a lot to prove coming off of that loss. And again, remember, I said in this stretch, I had them going 4-2 in this stretch if you include the first Cowboys matchup. And so far, they're on pace. Even before the season started, I had them going 12-5. I was looking at the schedule and I'm saying to myself, damn, I think 12-5 is pretty realistic. And now they're 10-2. I think they can end the season.
So if they go 14-3,
14-3. It's not a bad place to be.
And you split with Dallas.
Yeah.
What's people's problem?
It's Dallas, and we hate them with a passion. So that's why that's another reason why I'm picking the Philadelphia Eagles. I would never pick Dallas in any situation. I freaking hate them. So I'm not picking Dallas against the Philadelphia Eagles. That just goes against the fiber of my being.
Okay.
So
That being said, then,
yeah.
do you have more faith in the Eagle defense or the Cowboys at home with 10 days rest, playing the way they do at home?
Right.
And you coming through that stretch of tough games where, I mean, dude, there's a lot of tired guys, and the injury report shows the kind of little fatigue injuries that you have here. I mean, so you have more faith that somehow that defense is going to miraculously be rubbed like a magic lamp, and they're going to start slowing down Dallas?
No, because
and they played you great at home.
No, because I have Dallas putting up 30 points. So that means the defense didn't do their job, right? You know, if you allow a team to put up 30 points on you, I'm telling you in my score prediction, I don't think this defense is going to get enough stops. I just think the offense is going to put up enough points to win the game. I think it's going to be a gun show, and I think the team who has the ball last wins the game. But to answer your question directly,
I agree with you, Stone. If it's a fourth quarter game, Dallas should be nervous.
Right. But to answer your question directly, do I have more faith in the Cowboys doing what they do or the Eagles defense doing what they do? I have more faith in the Cowboys than I do the Eagles defense. That's just the fact. The Eagles defense looks porous. Like they can't.
I've lost faith.
I don't trust their defense right now.
Not at all.
I don't trust them. You know, and that's just the fact of the matter. I don't trust them. You know, over the past 3 weeks, you're surrendering north of 160 rushing yards. I don't care what the overall numbers say for the season. The past 3 weeks, you're surrendering north of 160 rushing yards. That cannot happen again. So I'm curious. I'm actually curious what Dallas' game plan is going to be, because even though their passing is their mainstay, but I'm curious to know if they're going to try to take the ball out of Dak's hands and land on a running game and try to take advantage of the Philadelphia Eagles' run defense. I don't think they will.
Ferguson.
I think me and Rob was talking about this earlier. Rob has the Cowboys winning because he thinks Ferguson is going to be an issue for them on third down.
Yep.
And I understand that
all year.
And I understand that logic completely. As a matter of fact, in my score prediction, I have Hurts putting up 3 TDs, 2 passing, 1 rushing. Swift putting up a touchdown as well, and Jake Elliott kicking 2 field goals, which amounts to 34 points. And then I have Dak putting up 3 passing touchdowns, and their kicker putting up 3 field goals as well, which amounts to 30 points. So I think the Eagles are just going to score more points and take more advantage of their red zone opportunities. So again, I had the Cowboys putting up 30 points. I don't think the Eagles defense is going to do too much to stop them at all. I just think the Eagles offense is going to put up enough points to win the game.
You understand, win or lose, if Dak plays great, Hurts loses the MVP on Sunday night.
I think they've already taken the MVP out of his hands after what happened
which is criminal.
Which doesn't make sense to me.
Yes, it does.
Well, you know what? Let me take that. It does make sense to me, but I don't like it.
Right.
Let me put it that way. It makes sense, but I don't like it. I don't like it because you beat Patrick Mahomes, you beat Dak earlier in the season, you beat Josh Allen in a gun show in the second half. Okay, you lose to the Niners, but so did the Cowboys. The Cowboys lost to them as well.
PJ Walker. It's okay.
Listen to this though, right? Yeah. Hear me out on this and tell me what you think about this. The Cowboys and the Eagles both got killed by the Niners, right? We agree on that notion.
55 points combined.
But here's the sad thing about it. They're trying to say the Cowboys have done more.
Oh God!
Listen to this. They're trying to say the Cowboys have done more to reestablish confidence in their chances to win it all than the Eagles have done all season, and they've only lost 2 games. Think about that. The Eagles have beaten the Chiefs, the Bills.
Preposterous.
They've beaten the Dolphins, but they're trying to say the Cowboys have done more since their loss to the Niners.
Insanity.
To have more confidence in them than the Eagles.
That's insanity thinking. It's
I don't
insanity.
understand.
Get this. Tone, I have more confidence in this. Cowboys beating them Sunday. The Eagles ending 14-3, winning the East, securing home field. And I have more faith in that than the Cowboys running the tape the rest of the way out.
I'm
They're
willing to
not.
agree with that.
They're going to lose no matter. They're going to lose 2 more games. I don't know who it's to. It could be to Philly.
I think. Listen, I'm
it
telling
could
you,
be to Miami. It could
I
be
think
Buffalo.
they lose. I think they lose back to back, Miami and,
Okay.
and Buffalo. I think that's going to happen. That's why it's so important for the Eagles to win this game. They win this game, they send them down a dark place.
Oh yeah,
and then they're going to bounce back. They're going to beat the Lions, and they're going to beat the Washington. They're going to beat the Washington
Really?
Commanders.
You don't think that Lions game will be close?
No, it will. But I don't. Them losing 4 games in a row will be crazy. That would be crazy. So I think it's realistic to have them lose in the next 3: Eagles, Bills, Dolphins, and then they bounce back against the Lions, who are unpredictable in my humble opinion. I like the Lions, but they're unpredictable.
How about this? Man?
Yeah.
Have you ever eaten a really? What's the best cheesesteak you've ever eaten? Have you ever had the best cheesesteak sandwich?
There's always better.
Okay, all right.
Because
so
you know what it is. Because here's the thing.
Why are you not satisfied with that, Tone?
Because I'm from Philly, man. Like we love cheesesteak. Like you can get a cheesesteak from over 200 places in the city, and you can always find one that's better than the other.
It's true.
It's like insane. That's why when you go to Philly, when you go to Philly, I'm telling you this right now. You better not go to Pat's. You better not go to Geno's. They suck. I'm telling you, they're tourist attractions. They're not cheesesteak places. Do not go to Pat's.
I go to off-Broadway places. Like when I go to Little Havana down in Miami, I go to places that you would not believe that they serve the Cuban food, and same thing with Italian food. I don't go to where people go when they say, "Hey, you got to go to the most famous places," because the most famous places traditionally have good food, but not homegrown food. And so I subscribe like you do.
Listen, you can't go wrong with D'Alessandro's.
Yep.
You can't go wrong with Chubby's. You can't go wrong with Max's. You can't go wrong with Tony Luke's. You can't go wrong with Ishkabibbles.
Who's the best?
Depends on the day, man. How you feeling?
Oh,
how you feeling?
Now I know why 14-3 to you is a suck ass record.
This is what I do, right? Listen, you're gonna think I'm a pig, right? D'Alessandro's and Chubby Steaks are right across the street from each other, right across the street, like literally not even 50 yards.
Hatfield McCoy's.
So what I do, D'Alessandro's, the line's typically longer because you can't go inside. It's like an outdoor line. So what I do is I go to D'Alessandro's. I order my steak, right? It may take 20 to 30 minutes because the line's so long. I'll go over to order my steak, right? Then I'll head over to Chubby's, right? Order me a steak, sit in, eat my food. As soon as I get that text, head over there, take my leftovers, grab my D'Alessandro steak, go home. Now I got a cheesesteak and a half, maybe. You know what I mean? And now I'm feeling great. So you always get a 2-for-1 when you go to D'Alessandro's and Chubby's.
Hey, you heard what Merrill Reese said about Jerome? He'd go all over Philly, man. He'd get 4 or 5 cheesesteaks. And he goes, "Oh, you're going to give these to your team?" He goes, "No, these are for me."
Yo, that's man. I'm telling you, man.
Goes, "No, these are for me, man."
I'm telling you, man. Listen, I haven't had a cheesesteak since I left. I've been out of Philly since July.
Ain't no cheesesteaks in that.
And I ain't getting no cheesesteak in Texas, bro.
No way.
Like, I wouldn't even try it.
No way. Yeah, that's me too. I don't eat pizza in California. And I don't eat, like, there's one seafood place in Arizona when I go see my daughter when she plays rugby. We found this old school Italian place, but most of them not happening.
I'm scared.
Everything is in the East Coast. Dude, I made myself a cheesesteak the other day, and it's better than anything I've ever eaten on the West Coast.
I'm better off doing that, right?
Yeah, me too.
You said that earlier in the show. I'm actually going to. I'm going to.
Yeah, you should make your own because
I'm making my own.
You know what you're looking for.
I'm making my own, man. Like anyway.
Okay, what's the recipe for the Eagles to get this done then on Sunday?
So I said this to Rob. I said, here are my keys to the game. Both the Eagles need to win the battle in the trenches, offensively and defensively. The offensive line and defensive line, they have to win. I know this is And they can. I know it's a tall task for the defensive side because of the war of attrition. Did you know Josh Sweat, sidebar, did you know Josh Sweat has already surpassed his snap count from last season?
That's with 5 left.
5 games left.
And you don't have depth over there. Dude, I'm telling you, the loss of Nolan Smith not being able to help out,
I don't know why they're not giving him more snaps.
A critical miss, too, on that a little bit.
Yeah, so anyway, they got to win in the trenches. That's one.
So
secondly,
he's played more snaps than last year with 5 left.
Yes.
Good.
12 games versus 16 games played last year.
Good. That's a ton.
That's insane.
And see, Tone, but that's why the run numbers are going up.
And he's the only guy that's done that, by the way. So that tells me that tells me someone's not living up to the card in the rotation. That's what that tells me.
Right.
And who else is there?
Right. You don't have any depth out there.
Exactly. So, but yeah, they got to win in the trenches, both sides of the ball. That's one. Number 2, they need to establish the run game, not just run when you want. Establish it, lean into it.
With Hurts,
I actually think they don't give Swift the ball enough. I think they don't give him the ball enough. They incorporate Hurts for sure, but I think they need to give Swift that ball a little bit more. There's no way you give him the ball 5 times, 6 times, and say, "Oh, he couldn't run." What do you mean? 5 attempts? This is the NFL, man. We've all listen. You said this. You said this about. I'm not saying Swift is Emmett. I'm not saying that. But you said this about Emmett all the time. He'll give you 3 yards there, 4 yards there, 5 yards there, 6 yards there. All of a sudden, 30 yards. You know what I mean? So
yeah, 158, 28 carries. You're like,
right,
shit.
Right. So they need to establish the running game, like legitimately. So that's 2. And 3, and this is kind of a 2 for 1 as well. But this is my 3rd key. Defense needs to win on 3rd down. Offense needs to win on 1st down. That's been the problem over the past several weeks. Offense has not been able to win on 1st down. If the Eagles can find themselves in 2nd and manageable, for example, 1st and 10, you run the ball or do whatever you do, you get 2nd and 5. Okay, you're on schedule, right? 2nd and 5 comes, okay, you run a play. Let's say you're 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1. Okay, you're on schedule. You can't be 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10. You can't do that. So offense has to win 1st down. Defense has to win 3rd down. Because if you're winning 1st down, that tells me you're on pace to sustain the drive. If the defense wins 3rd down, that tells me you're getting your ass off the field. So I think that's where the game is won and lost. 1st and 3rd down.
Here's something that has been different in the Dallas offense this year that I haven't seen in the last 3 years. Now, probably because in that 3 years with Dak, there was an injury in there somewhere where he got hurt in that New York game.
Yeah.
But you know what's been different? His off-script plays this year when he's out in the perimeter.
They've gone up. They've gone up.
He has been spectacular in the off-script plays.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something Hurts hasn't been this year, where him in the off-script plays, he hasn't been spectacular in off-script. And to me, Tone, the off-script plays are a precursor to coming off those RPOs at time. And without that, you've not only taken RPO out of it, you've taken his improvising off and out of the offense, where Dak has added that. I'm not saying he's running RPOs because he's not.
No, I know what you mean, though.
When he gets off script and he gets out in the perimeter, kind of like Aaron Rodgers, it's funny. He's playing like Aaron Rodgers was playing in Green Bay when Mike McCarthy was the offensive coordinator. And how many times did we see Aaron Rodgers in off-script plays in the perimeter? He would light shit. Many of those Hail Marys were off-script plays that he would throw down the field. So to me, I think Mike has done a great job with him. A lot of underneath stuff. I mean, his quarterback completion percentage and his 2 things have gone up with him. His completion percentage is at 70.1. And his INTs, he's on pace for 37 touchdowns and 9 picks, and he's 108.3. That's all because of the improvisation that he's doing out of the pocket. And if you notice, even in that Eagle game, he got out in the perimeter. I think, what did he have in that game? 47 yards? Something like that.
He killed them outside the pocket because there was so many times where they had him dead to rights, but he found a way to extend the play. You brought up a great point about them not incorporating Jalen Hurts' superpower, and that's the RPO. You know, that allows him to really dig deep in his bag of creativity. That forces the defense. That allows him to manipulate defenses, right? So I really don't understand. I do understand. I don't like the fact that they think that they're doing him justice by not allowing him to use the RPO.
They want to protect him.
It's a part of his skill set. It's a part. He maximizes it better than anybody we've seen.
You're bringing up a really great point as an overall view of this gauntlet kind of part of the schedule here. Do you think an analytical mentality and a coaching and philosophical take is this? If we go 3-2 in this, without having this guy run RPOs and we end up 14-3, who cares at the end of the day? As long as he's healthier going into the playoffs.
That's true.
And him playing 17, wouldn't it be this at the end? The Eagles are going to look at you and me, or the people that have been bagging on the coordinator on offense. They're going to go, we won home field. We won the East for the second time, 2 years in a row.
He's healthy.
The quarterback's healthier than he was a year ago. We win. Your takes may be true. But at the end of the day, our analytical guys were right in the end because everything they predicted was right. Even though, Tone, get this, you and I don't like the way the picture was painted, but at the end, it sold for the same price.
That's a hell of a metaphor. And you bring up a great point, and that makes me want to ask you this question, right? And I know you and I don't really like talking like this in terms of like, do you think – everything you said, based off, you know, his health and wanting to preserve him for the playoffs, do you think they told themselves, let's tread water as much as possible throughout this season with our play calling? Let's not put him in harm's way as much as we can. Let's win games. We get home field advantage. The playoffs start. Then we start bringing out the RPOs again. Because at that point, it's when to go home. Do you think they've said that to themselves, or do you think that's been a conversation? Let's preserve him for as long as we can, get to the playoffs, and then we take it, and then we take the handcuffs.
And you unleash it.
You unleash it, yeah.
You got to remember when you're.
If we don't like, I don't like the idea of holding things back. I don't like that logic.
I get it, but you got to remember, analytic guys aren't coaches, so you got to think like a librarian or a CPA kind of guy on how they see it. Remember something: those guys traditionally, when they're doing, look, Elon Musk makes the right thing. When you're talking about calculus, or you're talking about any kind of fundamental thing like that, when you're talking mathematics, right, you can't move the sticks in any way and take one element away from when you're talking about calculus, because the result won't be the same. That's how they see it. Coaches add the human element to it. And you have a conflict in that. So they're looking at it through what you just said. Hey, man, NFC sucks. There's two teams in it. We're 10-2. Why should we sit there and put all chips in on San Francisco and run the RPOs in that game, risking Hurts being hurt? What's the point of having him? Like Joe Burrow sitting at home right now in Cincinnati. What's the point? We get out of this past Seattle, dude, you're going to coast home. You're going to coast home. Probably worse, 12-5, 14-3. You're going to be in a battle for the home field. You're going to win the East. The Cowboys aren't winning the East. They're just not winning the East. I do not believe I see the medal in that team to win. And by the way, I don't think the Cowboys are better than you. I just think they're in better shape than you right now. I just think they're in. Because I mean,
that's reasonable.
I'd like to play Dallas after the Miami game.
Exactly, because Dallas has not had this entire schedule Dallas has played thus far has been smooth sailing.
They have rough waters at all, except San Fran, and they got shocked by Arizona.
Right. You know, and that was all prior to their bye. So
yeah, but that's a mental. Get this: that Arizona game tells you a little. Hey, the Arizona game is all you need to know about the Cowboys' mentality and their mettle. They're not prepared every week. You think you look at the Jets loss versus the Arizona loss.
I was just about to ask you about that. What do you think is the difference between those losses for both teams?
Simple. It was self-inflicted. The other one, you got ran over. You weren't ready mentally.
Interesting. I think you're right, though.
See, look, this game on Sunday, there's two things. Look, I think they're in better shape. I have no question about them playing. I never had a question about their mettle going into this game. I just don't have confidence in the defense. I've lost complete confidence in them being able to turn this thing around. They've got to get out of this web of rough seas here and get into the back end. Dallas is going into rough seas. They're not going to survive. They're going to take on a shitload of water. By the time, I'll tell you this too, if Dallas survives some of this, by the time they get to the postseason, they're going to be with so much water on that boat, you're going to be even healthy. Dude, you got 2 giant games. You got an Arizona game. You got 3 games against 2 teams that have already packed it in.
Do you think I'm looking at the standings right now, right? So Dallas is currently 9-3. They have 5 games left.
And all their losses are in the NFC, with the Eagles with 2 losses in the they have 1 loss in the NFC and they have 1 loss in the
AFC. They actually have 3 losses in it. All their losses have been in the NFC.
Yeah. So they're 2 games behind you on the tiebreaker.
Correct. So
okay, even if you lose,
you still got them dead right.
You're still in first place off the tiebreaker in the East.
Exactly. Now, here's the interesting part about this too.
And if they lose, the East is over.
Exactly. So let's listen to this. They're 9-3, right?
Yeah.
So final 5 game stretch. I think realistically they go.
Who they play next?
So after the Eagles, they got Bills. Listen, they're on the road. They're on the road against the Bills. I think they lose that game.
All their emotion and everything. That game that they play against you is going to be so pushed in for this is where the analytic guys in Philly might be right. Dallas is going to push every single thing in this game to win this bitch on Sunday. Everything. You know what the Eagles aren't going to do? They're not risking Hurts on RPOs. That's why when you say establishing the run game, okay, Tone, give the ball 20 times to Swift. That's the limit they're going to do. Hurts is not going to be the number 1 ball carrier, because if he is,
I agree.
That's a dangerous place to be when you don't need to put your team. Remember, this is about the war of attrition at the end. You don't need to put your team in that position right now when you have all the advantages over Dallas, even in a loss. You still have the advantages. Dallas, in my opinion, has to sell everything out. They've got to. And you know what's going to happen? That team in Buffalo, who is just, I don't know. I think Sean McDermott needs to be fired. But that Allen guy's great. And it's at home. And that Mafia is great up there. They're losing that game. Who do they play after that?
After that, Dallas plays Miami on the road. They lose
They'll
that
lose
game.
That down in the game, in my opinion. Down in the heat at Miami?
They're losing that game, in my opinion. Yes. Yep. At Miami.
So they're going to have to go to South Florida, where right now it's 98 degrees. And they're going to go down there and play in that humidity down there after coming off of Eagles and Bills. And you're flying down to Miami.
They're going from the coldest of the cold to the hottest, to the humid of the humid.
And coming off also on see, they're going through the type of schedule. Let's see what kind of mans you are. And let's see what kind of team you are when you got to go through a gauntlet like you guys went through.
Remember, Dallas plays in the dome. Dallas, they play in the dome, right? They've been home for 3 straight weeks against the Commanders, Seahawks, and Eagles. They've been sitting pretty. They're about to get tested.
Who do they play after Miami?
They're home against the Lions.
Okay, can you do me a favor? Take a look
on Monday night. On Monday night.
Take a look at the Lions games heading into that Dallas game, who they play.
Heading into Dallas. So they're on the road against Chicago.
Kill them.
They're home against the Broncos.
That won that game.
They're on the road against the Vikings.
They'll win that game.
And then they're on the road against the Cowboys.
Okay. Those are all winnable games.
Mm-hmm.
Not crazy stretching out.
I think the Broncos pushed them.
Okay, probably because there'll be a desperate Broncos team by then because of what happened to Pittsburgh last night.
Yes.
You know what you did? Pittsburgh's loss made it so that the Texans, the Bills,
The Bengals.
Those teams are still in it now, and they can make a noise. And so the Colts are still in that conversation down there at that bottom end of that. So the Steelers brought a lot of teams in because if I'm not mistaken now, I wrote it down here. The Texans are in the 7 hole, and the Colts are in the 6 hole.
Correct.
And the Browns are in the 5 hole.
I think the Browns and the Steelers fall out completely. I think Colts, Texans, and Broncos take over the 5, 6, and 7 spot.
Sounds. Hey, who would have thought Shane Steichen and would have put the Colts into the playoffs with really
Gardner Minshew,
and not having Jonathan Taylor around a lot.
That's insane, man.
Right? That's that. Hey, you can't think that that's not been missed in the Eagle huddle.
Oh, absolutely. I think losing Shane Steichen was out of everything we've experienced this year. Losing Shane Steichen, in my opinion, was the largest blow.
You think he's the real head coach last year?
I won't say the real head coach, but I think he's the real mastermind behind everything. You know, I think he's the real reason why Jalen Hurts took that step.
You think it's the reason Jalen Hurts got $250 million?
Yes. I'm willing to say that. Yes. I'm willing to say that.
You got to give it to Howie then for taking the play calling away from Nick and giving it to Shane, because that was a brilliant stroke, because what it did was it gave Jalen Hurts a place in the NFL as one of the best quarterbacks in the league. It made him a $50 million guy. And Tone, I loved what you said earlier. I thought what you said, it's because then you turn around and you start talking to me. I've never had a really great cheesesteak. I'm like, this guy was born there. But with the one thing, but I'm like this. I'm like, but then you turn around and you say this. I just don't think people give this team enough love for where they are. And that's why when I say this about the Niners, dude, if the Niners don't win the Super Bowl this year, you got everything set up for you. Quarterback making no money, defense, offense, everything. And you don't win it. I personally think the Eagles are playing with house money. And here's why. You're retooling your defense. Nobody goes back historically.
They're 10-2 without a defense.
Get this.
Think about that.
Without a defense. The last team to do this, to go back to a Super Bowl after a loss, were the Patriots. Okay? I mean, like the Patriots in like the early 2000s.
Well, remember, they lost to the Eagles and they came back and beat the Rams the following year.
Oh, that's right. That was, what was that? 17 and 18.
17-18, yep. They lost to the Eagles and then they came back and beat the Rams. Yeah, and I believe that's another conversation. But nonetheless, they're 10-2 without a defense. Let's be honest about it. So and you laid it out perfectly, right? You laid it out perfectly earlier. They're 10-2. They don't have a defense. They're dealing with more injuries. The schedule's harder. New coordinators, new staff. Really, the only guys that are still on the only remaining guys were Nick, Tracy Rocker, Aaron Moorhead at wide receiver, and Jeff Stoutland. Other than that, everybody else is and Kevin Patullo in the passing game. But other than that, everybody else is new. So you're overcome. They've overcome so many things. You lost in the Super Bowl. You had the longer season out of everybody. So your team isn't as rested as everybody else is.
Aren't you more surprised?
You go to the Super Bowl, you lose by 3 points. You come back and with a 10-2 record. Come on, man.
But here, go with me here on this one. I'm not shocked where San Fran is. I'm shocked where the Eagles are.
Because of history, right? Because of everything they've had to overcome, which is why I say to myself, how are people so comfortable being this dismissive of the Philadelphia Eagles? They're so comfortable. And it's a shame.
Because they can't believe what they're seeing.
And I spoke about this. They can't put a number on it. They can't quantify it. They can't. It goes against historical accuracy. And all they can do is say, well, they must be lucky.
Well, it's not luck.
Instead of looking at the quarterback position and saying, well, maybe Jalen Hurts has elevated his game. Maybe he's turned the ball over more, sure. But he's elevated his game in such a way where you put them in crucial situations, dire situations, and he elevates and he plays above the standard. You know what I'm saying?
If you're not on that team, you're a 5-win team.
I couldn't agree more.
And get this.
I couldn't agree more. And
I would not have said that. I would not have said that with Devontae, AJ, O-line. I would not have said that before. Now,
You see it now.
I see it
You
now.
see it now.
And I see what's going on in Los Angeles with the Chargers. They basically have almost the same type of personnel there. They got shitty coaching. They got shitty direction. And they have a quarterback who can't overcome dysfunction. And I'm not saying the Eagles are dysfunctional because they make 10 times more moves than anything the Spanos family will ever do. However, here's a small example. Okay, so you cut Derek Barnett. Let's just pretend here for a second, shits and giggles.
Right.
Derek Barnett underachieved. Okay, so you cut him, and Sweat's play totals go up. How's that benefiting the defense when you don't have a proper replacement because you think your analytics department is better than your coaches? Didn't somebody step up and go, okay, we're going to release Derek Barnett. Okay, fine, no problem. Who are you putting in there to cover Sweat's snap count? He's already played more plays than the entire 22 season. And that line of thinking is just sprinkled everywhere throughout the year and in the roster. The decision on Dean, the overpaying and keeping Slay. They should have cut Slay. They should have went with their gut feeling. Remember the reports? You and I were going, how funny, Slay saying goodbye to everyone. The ESPN was reporting that they were going to waive him. All of a sudden, because of the Gardner-Johnson fiasco, they bring him back for, okay, corners are more important than slot corners. Doesn't seem to be now because we missed that 6 turnovers. I know that he has problems with fits.
He's a playmaker, though. He's a
playmaking guy, kind of like Diggs in Dallas was.
Right. And the only thing I'll say about CJGJ is, it's hard to kind of draw parallels between this, but him getting hurt in Detroit, it's almost like, well, would that have happened in Philly? So it's kind of like, I know it's not fair to say because circumstances matter. And who's to say he would have got hurt or wouldn't have got hurt? But for shits and giggles, like you said, I mean, let's say everything is the same, but he plays for the Eagles, that would have been terrible for the Eagles. They made that investment in him, and he got hurt like in the first 3 weeks.
Why didn't you bring in Chase Young then to replace Barnett?
Well, you know what? That was a trade. So you like,
okay, it was a trade. I thought they released him. You're right.
No, that was a trade.
Randy Gregory.
I actually wanted him. I wanted him.
Here, think about this. Okay, so you get Barnett didn't play a ton of plays, but Nolan Smith is playing no plays.
Right, you're not.
And what you're doing is you're upping the volume of Sweat. You know what I'm going to do if I'm Dallas? I'm going to run at Josh Sweat.
And you know what I would do, honestly, at this point?
And it's not because he sucks.
So he's tired. Here's the thing, right? I don't give a damn how Nolan plays. Put him out there. Take some pressure off of Sweat. Get him out there.
Put him in 3rd and long.
Who cares? Take some pressure off of Sweat. You got Sweat. Sweat has already played more snaps in 12 games than he played in 16 games last year.
And it's affecting his sack totals and his pressures.
Yes. He was a non-factor against Trent Williams. He wasn't like he couldn't even turn the corner on him. Dude, that's how bad it was.
They ran the ball 5-6 straight times at him because they knew. Get this, Tone. When you're an offensive coordinator, you look at snap counts.
Yep.
You look at fatigue. That's the shit I'm talking about.
His hand was on the tip all game.
That's the stuff you look. Hey, how about this? Picking, that's a great. Can Milton Williams? Hey, can Fletcher get out there? I'd feel better putting Fletcher in a defensive end position on a short side, not to put him in the wide side of the field. You could situationally do that. You know what I'm saying, Tone?
Or
on the short side, have the sideline there and defend the sideline, put him on an end position just to give him some reps. I'm saying this to you right now.
And also,
if I'm the Dallas offensive coordinator or if I'm Mike McCarthy, I'm looking at the most vulnerable guys right now. And here's the most vulnerable guys on the Dallas defense. Clearly, it's Shaq Leonard's a good player. Okay, well, let's find out what kind of communication skills he has. That's got nothing to do with ability. That's everything to do with communication. So I'm going after him. Hey, Zach Cunningham has a hamstring.
Yep.
Okay,
going to him.
Let's run screens on him. Let's see if he can cover. Let's stress that guy out. Hey, Josh Sweat, how many plays? He's played his max from a year ago. Let's run right at him again. Okay, let's do that. Let's put Zach Martin's ass over there and the left tackle, Tyron Smith, on him, and let's run the ball right at him.
Right.
I'm telling you,
And
that's
my
how
thing is
coordinators look at it.
like Brandon Graham, like my thing is you can have Brandon Graham, right? Brandon Graham he's only playing about 25-30% of the snaps. Get him on the field some more.
Yeah.
Get him on the field.
Yeah,
Like,
but that's a calculation because he's old and they're trying to put him on a pitch count. Hey, you know what?
Sweater's your best player. Sweater's your best player.
You're perimeter guys. You don't have depth there.
Sweater's your best player. You gotta get him some.
Yeah.
You gotta get him some leeway. You gotta get him some rest.
Isn't it
funny?
funny?
Brandon Graham out there. Listen, 25% of the snaps. That's nothing right now.
But it's a lot for a 36-year-old end.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. Maybe I'm not being nice
enough. You're talking about a 36-year-old guy like he's 26.
I know. But
see, that's your heart talking again with them cheesesteaks.
So wait, Graham's played 30%. He's only played 30% of the snaps, right? 240 total snaps on the season.
You don't think that's a lot for a 36-year-old guy?
I mean, 35 years old, but hey, who's counting?
35, okay. I'll tell you what. Fletcher's what? 33, 32?
Yeah, something like that, right? Exactly.
How many percentages has he played?
Oh yeah, I was looking it up earlier too. Fletcher Cox has played. I think he's 66% of the snaps. Let me double check that though.
Holy cow, that's really impressive.
Yep. Fletcher's at 66% of the snaps. He's played 501 total snaps on the season.
How many sacks?
On the season, Fletcher Cox has. Where are we here? He has a grand total of. Oh wow. Okay, so on this season, he only has 2.5 sacks on the season.
That's all right.
2.5 sacks. 13 quarterback hits, which is only one less than he had last year. So he's getting there, but they're not finishing the job.
If he ends the season in these next 5 with 6 sacks, let's just put there 6 sacks. 32, 33-year-old guy playing 66% of the snaps.
If he can be 5 sacks, I'm good with that.
He'll be your bestie tackle this year.
Yeah, he plays the most out of all of them. He plays the most. Jalen Carter.
Now, got the most talents, Carter.
Right. But his motor isn't as high as Fletcher.
But the guy who'd be most productive,
now, believe it or not,
will be Fletcher.
Agreed. Because Jalen Carter right now, where is he as far as snap counts? Jalen Carter on the snap count.
He's running out of gas a little.
He's 55% of the snaps right now.
How many sacks?
With 408 total snaps. As far as sacks goes, Jalen Carter has 4 sacks on the season. 7 QB hits and 6 tackles for loss.
It's great. Hey, do you resign Fletcher next year?
I would. I'll find a way to get. I would.
Do you resign BG? Come on now.
I actually think this is BG's last year. Like, and I think.
Oh, you think it's going to be his call?
Yeah. I think he knows this is his last year. I think he knows that.
If you had to keep one of the corners, who would you keep?
I'm keeping Bradbury. I know he had a rough start, but I'm keeping Bradbury because he's a tad younger. He has more new money left on the deal, so I got to be careful with that.
Yep.
Whereas though Slay, he's more expendable to me because after this year,
they front-ended the money.
So I think Slay is going to be going after this year. I think they draft the corner in the first round.
Yeah, that's their number one priority is corner.
In my opinion, I think corner needs to be the number one priority. I wouldn't be surprised if they go corner in the first 3 rounds.
I can see corner edge.
Or what I mean is, I wouldn't be surprised if they draft 2 corners within the first 2 rounds. I think they go corner, edge, corner,
safety, linebacker.
Or I wouldn't be surprised if they do this: corner, edge, O-lineman. That's on brand for them. That's so on brand for them.
Yeah, I could hear. Tell me if you think this sounds like them: corner, edge, O-line.
Safety,
linebacker in the 4th.
Yeah, that's pretty spot on. That's pretty spot on. They're not leaving this draft without 2 offensive linemen. They're gonna get 2.
And I don't think they're leaving the draft without 2 corners.
Agreed. I think they leave with 2 corners, 2 offensive linemen, an edge rusher, and a safety. That's where I'm at with it.
How about a tight end? Do you draft a tight end?
Yes.
What round? 3rd?
Actually, no. I'll probably draft one maybe 5th, like 4th or 5th.
Aren't you getting tired of not being able to count on Goddard every year?
Yes, I am. And the fact of the matter is, talent aside, he has to stay healthy. And if he can't stay healthy, he won't get a second contract in the city, or a third contract rather, because the rookie one counts. So he won't get a third contract in the city if he can't stay healthy. I think he has 2 years left on the deal, 2 years maybe, or something like that. So I think they should already be considering an exit strategy from that.
What do they do at running back?
Running
Don't
back,
you think they need a bruising back that is more in a situation where instead of you know what a novelty that McCaffrey is that he's built like that, but he runs in between the tackles like a bitch, and he runs like a what he does, Tone, that's really unique and why he's the highest paid running back. He runs like a big man in between the tackles, and he catches the football like Alvin Kamara in the perimeter. I think that's why he is so difficult of a cover. It's his style of play.
Yeah.
He's a chameleon.
He's built like AP. He runs. He's built like AP. He moves. He moves like a Todd Gurley in his prime, but catches like Marshall. It's weird.
I think he runs like Emmett in there.
It's so weird. Like,
because you don't really see the big yards. You're like 10, 9, 7. But then he breaks one off.
He'll crack one for 20 or 30. He'll crack.
Yeah, he'll crack one off on you, man, and surprise you with his speed down. He is probably one of the more underrated players. And I think he probably gets that underrated tag a bit because he's hurt. He's hurt. There's a history of missing games now. He's in a stretch now where he's been healthy. And I think that's got a lot to do with the play calling, with the talent around him.
Well, yeah, he doesn't have to be the
Carolina's
guy.
lack of talent around him and lack of play calling around him.
Exactly. In Carolina, he was the offense. And that was the difference. In San Fran, he's in a situation where he's not relied on to be everything.
You know who he really reminds me of now? Marshall Faulk.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a much more physical Marshall Faulk. He's a much more physical Marshall. That's how I look at him.
Do you address the 3 wide receiver spot? Or is that important to them in this offense?
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think that's something they're going to waste a draft pick on. I think they're more likely to
free agent
plug that with somebody.
All right.
I wouldn't be surprised if they bring back Olamide on a 1-year deal again.
Oh no, I like that kid. Are you happy with Cam Jurgens in the right guard position? Or does the organization look at it like this? He's a plug and fill for now, but that's our future center, and we have to address that. They thought they did maybe. Maybe Steen is that guy.
Remember when they drafted Landon? He was drafted to be Kelsey's replacement, but then Kelsey came back and they moved him to left guard, and they realized, okay, we're not moving him.
But Landon is 6'5". This guy's 6'2". He's little. He's not quite as big.
Right. So that's why it made sense for Landon to stay at left guard. But then Cam Jurgens, I think they would prefer him to be safe. Prefer him to be a center. I think that's their real preference. And then they put Steen at right guard. I think that's their dream scenario.
I'm going to throw something at you here that I don't know how people will respond, but let's just hypothetically say that.
Hey, listen, we're having fun. We're having fun. Let's do it.
Let's hypothetically say this. Chicago moves off of Justin Fields.
Okay.
Would you be open to having Justin Fields as Hurts' backup for a year? Let him watch how he plays. Signs him to a 1-year deal. He's the backup. How he brings him in. If you're the agent, you put him behind Hurts. Let him mature. Let him grow. Get some decent coaching. And then off that 1 year, how he has a trade and a pick maybe that he can move. Remember, he was offered what was he offered? A 3rd rounder from somebody for the Gardner Minshew during the season last year. I think it was even the Colts that may have asked for. I thought somebody was requested Gardner Minshew. Do you think? Because I don't think Jalen would have a problem with it, but maybe the perception
it wouldn't affect him in any way.
But I think the perception might, because this. Look, the guy loses a game. National media is going to go, Hurts played bad. This is why they got his replacement. You know what I mean? I don't think I would do it.
it would mirror the Carson Wentz situation too closely. It would mirror it too closely. I don't think they would do that. I wouldn't even do that.
Here's why I say this. If you're Justin Fields, why do I want to go to Carolina? The only place that makes sense for me if I'm Justin Fields is Atlanta.
I was just about to say, I think Justin Fields ends up in Atlanta.
Isn't he from down there? Did
he
go to school at Georgia first and then he transferred to Ohio State?
I think he was at Georgia, then
I thought he was at Georgia, and that's one of the reasons why.
Yeah, he was.
Joe
He was at
Burrow
Georgia.
Left.
Yep.
Is because they made a transfer move from him coming from Georgia to Ohio State.
Correct. Yeah, he was at Georgia first, then he went to Ohio State. Yep.
Can you imagine him in Atlanta?
That might look good. He is from Georgia. He's from Harris. He went to Harrison High School in Georgia. So yeah, he's born and raised in Kennesaw, Georgia. So yeah, I'm looking at his situation as they're moving him. I don't care what anyone says. I think they're going to move him. And I think Atlanta is the perfect situation for him. He goes into a situation where he has a tight end, he has a receiver, he has a running back. I would love to see Fields in Atlanta, just to see how it would look.
Holy shit, he's from Kennesaw, Georgia. A lot of gun racks in that damn place. Oh man, hey, even a guy like me would be afraid, man. Too many. Hey, Big Sills doesn't go to cities that have a lot of cars with gun racks in them. Hey, dude, when I first got down to Atlanta, or when I first got down to Florida and I got down to the South, I only read about shit. And I was like this: Wounded Knee Creek, Battle Creek, General Lee, Robert E. Lee Tree.
Listen,
dude, man, I tell you what, I was a little like, this ain't for me.
Listen,
hey,
man.
One last thing.
I was nervous about Texas,
I got recruited to Ole Miss.
Right.
And my granddad goes, "Hey, look at the flyer here. They come running out. They don't do it anymore, but they used to come running out of the thing with the Confederate flag." And he goes, "Hey, man, that thing looks wow. You'd look good running behind that." I'm like, I ain't going anywhere near that.
No. You know what's so crazy? My first time visiting Texas was like in 2018, like 2018, 2019, something like that. And I was nervous as hell at first. And then, moving down here, I was even more nervous. But then so far, so good.
No, good folks.
Yeah, so far, so good. I'm sure there's pockets of racism everywhere.
No, but they're good folks. So far, I love living in Texas.
Yeah, so far everyone is really helpful.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Everybody's real chill and laid back.
Tone's used to this. Hey, what time is it? Go fuck yourself. Hey, what time is it? Well, it's about my lunchtime here, and it's 12:35. Youngster, I hope you have a good day. You're like, is there something wrong with me, or are you, or because back east you get this. My wife will go like this. Goes, hey, excuse me, what time is it? The guy back east in Philly or New York, they'll go like this. What do I look like, Big Ben?
Listen, listen. I'm at the airport, right? And me and my wife accidentally sat in the wrong seat. Our actual seats was right in front of the row we sat in, so we were just a row off. So we sat in the wrong seats, and the guy walked up. And he was like, "Hey, he had a Texas drawl, you know what I mean?" He was like, "Hey, I think you guys are in my seat." And I was like, "I'm not sure. You sure?" He said, "Sure enough." So I looked up and I was like, "Oh, sorry about that, sir. You're absolutely right." He said, "Hey, no worries, young man. This is no big deal. These planes are confusing anyway. Don't worry about it." I'm like, "Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Just nice, just a nice dude." I'm like, "Okay, whatever, man."
One thing about Texas, I met my old lady in Texas, and I'll say this to you, man. I've never seen hotter chicks in my life. I go up to a McDonald's drive-through. I'm like, you're kidding. These beautiful Mexican women, you're like this. Damn.
Hey, listen. My wife is originally from Georgia, so I got me a little Southern chick myself.
Oh, very nice.
And I'll tell you this about Texas, and I'll leave it here. Everything's bigger. Everything's bigger.
It surely is. That's a fact, man.
Oh man.
Hey.
Oh my God.
Egos and booties.
Hey, you said it, not me. You said it, not me.
I did. Hey, you put that eagle flag out front of your house?
You know what's so crazy? I don't have an Eagles. Do I have an Eagles flag? I don't think I have an Eagles flag. Actually, I do. But
I might keep that one hidden.
You know what's so crazy? on my block, Steelers fans, because
Get out.
seriously, because I'm in the military area, so
Okay.
literally Steelers fans and Tennessee Titans fans, Giants fans. I haven't really come across. I see them when I'm out and about, and every time I see a Cowboys fan, I just want to walk up to them and say, this year's your year, huh? This
You'll
year's
know
your year.
immediately you're an Eagle fan. Because only Eagle fan asks that question to Cowboy fans. Because Eagle fans will always do this. You really think this is the year? See, you don't really ask a question. It's more of a prophetic statement. You'll do this. I've noticed Eagle fans will do this. You don't really think you're going to win it this year, do you? It's more of a statement question than it is a question.
Man, I'll tell you this. I was in the gym and I saw this San Fran fan. And this is prior to the game. He was decked out, San Fran hat, San Fran shirt, San Fran shorts, red sneakers. He was blood red, head to toe. And I was so close to saying, so y'all think y'all got this one, huh? But I'm glad I bit my tongue on that one. Because we got our ass whooped. So I'm glad my pride was to the side on that one. I left that one alone. I left that one alone, man.
You guys know you don't really have game day food, right? Okay, you guys eat wieners on toothpicks. Anybody who eats wieners on a toothpick, little wiener dogs, and you get served wine and white wine spritzers, dude, that's not a ball game. That's more of a hoedown.
Philly, man, you got cheesesteaks, pizzas, hoagies, beer, you know, liquor right there. You know what I mean? You got wings.
How good are the Eagle tailgates?
Sills. You got to go to one.
That's a bucket list thing for me.
You got to go to one. Everybody feeds everybody. You can't walk 10 feet without somebody offering you a beer or something or throwing a football at you. Like, listen, man, the vibes are always electric. Everybody is just loud, rambunctious, music playing everywhere. Everybody tossing the football. So many grills going, fires over here, and you know, people just got the cheesesteaks and they got the big ass grills with the not just your regular grill.
Got the hibachis going.
I'm talking about the barrel grills, the ones that are homemade.
The barrel grill.
Yeah, like you see people out there with you see big old like school buses painted midnight green and like bro, just light shows, man. It doesn't matter. You know
what I heard? I heard them tailgate parties, man, are in Philly. I heard that you could have doctors and lawyers and just regular old folks, and everyone's painted up. Nobody knows anything different. Everyone's the same.
Listen,
and
when you down there, everybody's family. When you down there, everybody is family, Sills. I'll tell you that right now. You can't.
They told me it's the home of the hibachi.
Listen, you walk down there, all you gotta do is say, "Let's go, Birds." All of a sudden, people just go crazy. They throw you a beer and all that kind of shotgun and beer. Listen, it gets raunchy at Philly tailgate.
What's funner, the tailgating or the game itself?
The tailgating, easily.
You didn't even question that.
The tailgating, because when you get in the game, everyone kind of just like puts on like that mask. Like, all right, it's time to go to work. You know what I mean? You would think that we're playing. Like you would think that.
All right, I got to ask you one last question here. Are you going to be more? I heard you yesterday. I think you said something like this. Yeah, I went out, washed my car, changed my muffler, put a tire in the trunk. During the fourth quarter, man, I didn't even want to see. I love that.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
When my teams get beat, somebody told me because my Canes team got beat years ago. Someone goes, "What'd you do?" I went and washed my fucking car. I'm not watching that shit. That's not going to be something I'm sitting around watching.
You're half right. Basically, I'm watching this ass whooping, and I say to myself, you know what? I'm gonna go do a little laundry, gonna make some dinner. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go to fold this, gonna do that. I'm walking around the house doing anything but watch the screen, doing everything.
How nervous you gonna be, Cowboy? Has this been a weird Cowboy week for you?
It's been a weird Cowboy season. The first matchup was even kind of strange, but still, I was confident through and through. Whenever we're in Dallas, everything just feels off. It just feels off, you know. But I'm confident in this game. You know, we don't beat them twice in a year often, but I'm pretty confident in this game because I I think the Eagles are going to be capable of elevating their game in that matchup specifically because of how things went in the previous week. I think this is a big week for everybody involved. I think did you hear? I didn't get a chance to ask you this. I know we're running out of time. Did you hear what is his name? Derek Carr from NFL. Did you hear what he said about David? Did you hear what he said about Hurts?
He doubled down on it too, saying that he doesn't think that Hurts is healthy and that they should pull him and put Mariota in, and that gives him a better chance.
Listen, he's trying to spin it. He's talking that healthy angle. This dude had the nerve to say, "Yeah, I think this offense will function way better with Mariota." You know what? What are we talking about, man? They're just giving anybody a job these days. Like, come on. I would take a 60% Hurts than a 100% Mariota. Are you smoking crack?
Who was the quarterback from North Carolina that after they yanked him being a number 1 overall pick, won a division title, and he was a stiff? I forget who that was. And he was a North Carolina quarterback, and he was upgraded to David Carr. He was an upgrade, man.
I'm gonna find out.
Yeah, because this guy is just talking nonsense.
So, because David Carr went to Fresno State. So
yeah, they both Carrs did.
Okay. So
yeah, I think he won a division title with Bill O'Brien. Who was the guy that won that division title? Prior to DeShields.
Oh, are you talking about Matt Schaub?
Yep.
Matt Schaub.
There was another guy before him too.
The Texans. Let me see Texans quarterback history. I'm finding out. I want that.
Yeah, because he's a stiff nobody, and he won a division. He won a division title there, and everyone was like, Bill O'Brien won a division. I think this is when they had Clowney down there. And Clowney, and they had TJ Watt, or they had Watt, JJ Watt.
Let's see here. All right. Was it okay? So Matt Schaub was there from 2007 to 2013. Was it Brock Osweiler?
Before that.
Okay, before David Carr. So we're talking
TJ Yates.
TJ Yates.
Yates.
Yes, here it is. 2011 and Yep. You're right. Because Carr was there.
TJ Yates won a division title.
TJ Yates
had a better career than Carr did with the Houston Texans.
TJ Yates.
TJ Yates. Way to go, Keon. TJ Yates.
That is insane. TJ Yates.
He won a division title, right?
So TJ Yates says, okay, he only had 10 starts with Houston.
I thought he finished it up and they won the division with him.
Okay. He probably finished it up because he was there. TJ Yates was in there 2011, 2015, and 2017. David Carr was there from 2002 to 2006. Okay. So you sure you're not thinking of all right, Tony Banks, Dave Ragone?
No. I thought Yates finished up and they won a title. Like a division title in
Okay, Yates did get them to the playoffs in 2011. You're right.
Okay.
You're right. Yep, it says here. It says due to injuries to both starting quarterbacks, Matt Schaub and backup quarterback Matt Leinart during the 2011 regular season.
Matt Leinart.
TJ Yates became the starter for the rest of the season as well as the playoffs.
Bill O'Brien, baby.
Oh,
great stuff, man. I tell you what, this is going to be an interesting ball game on Sunday.
It's going to be fun, man. I'm excited for it.
Okay, we got the Philly Godfather, 5:32. Hey, Tone's got very interesting behind the scene and behind the curtain messages, too, that go on.
Listen, man. So I have a lot of respect. I'm sure
it'll be very entertainment. Thank you so much, Tone.
I got a lot of respect for the Godfather. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, my friend.
Yes, sir.
You got it. Don't forget, on Saturday from 3:30 to 5:30, Big Sales will be out at King of Prussia. We invite you to come on out. We're giving Eagle tickets away for the Christmas Day game. We got jerseys to give away. We've got merchandise to give away. Come on out. Have a great time with us. We really appreciate you guys. Don't forget, Wing Wednesdays, 1983. Go to northeasttutors.com, northeasttutors.com. Can't wait to see it. We're going to take a look at Week 14 of National Football League. A little more in this Cowboy-Eagle game. Philly Godfather is going to join us at 5:30 Eastern. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Whose house? Football and Hooters, the perfect pair.